4 matches now, 4 losses. How important?
3 losses.
3 losses. How important is it that you now get a win?
Yeah, it's important. Most important thing for me is the performance. We need to produce performances over the next 2 games. The last camp was a strange camp, really. Reading the quotes from Carly in midweek is probably a fair assessment of where we were in terms of the emotional hangover from the World Cup. People can say it's a little bit of an excuse, but if you look at results on both men's and women's sides of the teams that went further in the competitions, then they are affected. So tomorrow is about the performance. We want to get that sparkle, that enjoyment, that freedom to play, and if we do that, then the results looks after itself. I don't really focus that much on the end result. I focus on the process we get to make sure that our players going out onto the pitch tomorrow are 100% looking forward to it and are in good form.
Steph, for you, obviously you're playing in the North East. How important and exciting is that with the sellout crowd?
Yeah, of course. I think obviously there's a lot of us from the North East, and we've been dying to get a fixture up here, and to hear that there's a sellout crowd's even better, and nothing that we would expect anyway. We expected that if we did come here and we played a game that there'd be a lot of North Eastern people wanting to come and see us. So for us, we're excited, and like what the boss has just said there, it's all about the performance now. We want to kind of go there and put on a good performance in front of all our fans.
Yeah, I mean, there have been record sellouts, haven't there, in the Women's Super League as well this season. What does that say about women's football at the moment, especially after the World Cup?
Yeah, I think there's a massive momentum shift since the World Cup, and I always think that people aren't coming to the game tomorrow because they've been forced to buy tickets. They're coming to the game tomorrow because they genuinely want to come and see a group of footballers from Brazil and a group of footballers from England that they're at top of their profession. And I think if it was a one-off, you'd think it was probably not something that we could sustain. But at the moment, the crowds are just getting bigger and bigger, and the thirst for people to come and watch the Lionesses in particular. And I think that there's a clear message there that we are getting good crowds in the WSL. We're getting some consistency now in supporters turning up to WSL games, but the level in which the players are going to be playing at in terms of expectation levels tomorrow and in November is something that you can't measure, you can't compare, because they are playing at the top of their game in Premier League, in world-class stadiums where we're literally filling out, and we're playing in stadiums where there are waiting lists for people to come and watch the Lionesses play. And the good thing for me is, and the challenge for the players is that in 12 months' time or in 2 years' time, we've got the home Euros in our country, and there's going to be so much expectation on us all to perform and to win that competition. And I think what we'll see tomorrow and at Wembley in November, we'll see a team that now have to deal with that kind of expectation. I think that's a tremendous challenge. We're not going to hide away from it, and I'm sure Steph would agree that it's where we all wanted to be. Over the last 15, 20 years, the players that have fought so hard to break down barriers over the last 15 to 20 years, the managers, the coaches that have had a lot thrown at them, I think occasions like this is a reward for them as well. And that's why we're all excited.
Even else today, you're going to be missing Frank Kirby and Abby McManus. How much of a loss is that going to be?
Yeah, it's a loss. We also lost Demi Stokes earlier in the week. Millie, Demi and Abby through injury, so it's an opportunity for players to play football for England tomorrow that maybe at the start of the week probably wasn't going to be in the starting 11. So I'm genuinely excited. Some players have waited patiently, and the players that are playing tomorrow are the ones that are in the best form for their clubs, and I'm really excited to see them play, pull on an England jersey and get the rewards for their patience and for their professionalism and for the way that they've supported the team when sometimes they've been out of it and been pushing for that starting place.
Yes, have you played Brazil twice in the last year? What do you think are going to be the main challenges tomorrow, and do you think you can walk away with a win?
Yeah, let's hope so. I think obviously the game a year ago, I thought we dominated the whole game in terms of playing at Notts County and winning 1-0. I thought it was a very professional performance from us, and she believes it probably wasn't our best performance overall, but we showed great mentality and winning mentality to get back into the game. And for us, of course, we talk about the likes of Marta and their front line. They're the obvious threats and have been for a number of years. But it's an exciting challenge for us and one that we prepared for throughout this whole week.
You must be pleased that Jordan Nobbs is back.
Yeah, I mean, look, I think we've missed Jordan. She's a big player for us and she's got an unbelievable future with this team. And to see the journey she's been on over the last year or so with her injury and how she's come back, it's great to have a part of our squad, and it pushes us even more for competition for places.
In the Women's Super League, we've seen this season some teams playing in men's stadiums. Do you think that should be a permanent thing?
No, I don't think so. Not at this moment in time. I think we're on a. I think we've just got to take baby steps first. I think, you know, we were at the Manchester Derby at the Etihad. Fantastic atmosphere. Lots of people go and watching. It was at the London Stadium at the weekend. Where we played at Ashton Gate. I think we've still got to keep our feet on the ground in terms of where we're at. We you know, I'd still love to go to Kings Meadow, to Boreham Wood, to the CFA where Man City play, and let's keep filling those stadiums first. Let's build from the bottom and fill those stadiums. What I love about going to the big stadium, I'm sure the players will agree, is that the big stadiums gives them that excitement, that carrot, that, you know what, we're on this great journey at this moment in time. But I think we still need to just remain with our feet on the ground. So let's fill the stadiums that we're in at this moment in time. Let's keep going to the big stadiums for periods of the season, for the odd game. There's a London derby coming up between Arsenal and Spurs. They are great occasions that will keep inspiring the supporters, but more importantly, the players as well. The players are inspired by what's happening at the moment, and that's why you see the level of performance in the WSL, I think, has doubled from what I saw last year.
And tomorrow there will be a personal moment for you, of course, because the nation is going to, your husband's charity. Talk us through the foundation.
Obviously, as soon as Stephen was diagnosed, his thought process was how can he help others, and that's why the Derby Rimmer M&D Foundation was set up. And the aims of the foundation were to first and foremost raise awareness, and we're being given a great opportunity with the help of the FA to raise awareness tomorrow at the stadium. There'll be live text donations, there'll be more awareness in terms of what the foundation does, and the ultimate aims of it is to first and foremost support others with the M&D, for those that are probably less fortunate than what we are, and also to give money towards research. I think we all know that M&D is probably known as a disease that's quite rare, but actually it's quite more common than what we think, and it affects a lot of people. So the aims are to try and help those people and ultimately hopefully find a cure and some more treatment for the disease.
And the last year for you must have been incredibly tough.
Yeah, it's been tough on a personal level, but I think with the foundation it gives us something else to focus on. I'm trying to focus on my football. I love being here. My husband's really supportive of it, and now I'm supporting his foundation as much as I can and trying to support as many people as we can over the next few years.
Okay, and back to the match tomorrow. You too must be very pleased to be playing in the North East.
I've got fond memories from my playing career of this particular stadium. I won my first Premier League at this stadium, so I always think the North East is one of the hotbeds of football. We've been trying to come up to this area for the last 12 to 18 months, and we've just waited for the right moment when the fixtures, obviously Middlesbrough, Sunderland, Newcastle, and probably coming at this time means that we can come to the Riverside and sell out the stadium. It's a brilliant stadium. It's a Premier League class stadium. We obviously have got a lot of North East girls in the squad, and the initial plan was to probably stay towards the Leeds area, and then Steph obviously put her foot down and said we need to stay in the North East, and so we came up here yesterday. Look, it's produced many top class footballers, particularly in the women's game. There's players not even in our squad. There, you think of Demi Stokes, she's not even with us. She's from this area, and there's a real strong bond between those players that grew up in this area, and we've been received unbelievably. We trained at Spennymoor this morning, and they could not do enough for us. And because they're true football people, we go around the country and we go to different areas and we expose ourselves and make ourselves visible to other parts of the country. And what we found is when we go to different parts where we're a little bit worried about whether we sell out, we're always surprised and taken aback by the unbelievable support we have. And we've come to a real hotbed of football, and we hope tomorrow to put on a good show.
But yet this area won't be hosting any matches during the Euros.
No, but unfortunately, there was a process where the major cities and the major stadiums, Premier League stadiums, EFL stadiums, were asked to submit bids, and there was no bids from the North East. So, unfortunately, that's what it was. And Sunderland, Newcastle, Middlesbrough, great football clubs. Durham are top of the championship at this moment in time in the women's championship. So eventually, hopefully, we'll have a North East team in the WSL Premier League, and this area can start drawing more women's internationals, top class international football to this area, because it is one of the best areas in England to come and play football. And the amount of players that this area has produced, particularly for the England national team, is fantastic.
Final question I wanted to ask you. We've obviously heard from Megan Rapinoe a lot in recent weeks, talking about equality, equal pay. Do you think it is now at the stage where women should be paid significantly more for what they do?
It's a question where you probably get asked it quite a lot, and I think we talk about trying to fill out stadiums, and we're fortunate enough as an English national team that we can do that now, and that's been shown over the next 2 games. But I think, like Phil mentioned before, we have to make sure that we ensure that the fans are in our club stadiums. I think we don't want to be turned up to Manchester CFA and only 1,000 people there. We have to make sure that we take on this momentum and we produce, and we make sure that when we're on the pitch we're producing the goods so that fans come and watch us, so then in turn then we can be classed as being equal pay. But I think we've still got a long way to go. We're heading in the right direction, but in my opinion I don't think we're right there yet.
Okay, thanks ever so much.
Hi Phil, coming into this match on the run of form that England do, has it made you change your approach to this game or do anything different this time around compared to previous camps?
No, not really. We set the blueprint before the last camp in the summer, and we know what we need to do. We know where we're going, and it's about raising the level of performances and getting the right players in the team with the right mentality, with the right togetherness and the right belief in the plan that we've got to go out there and produce performances. I think we've had a really good week, even though we've lost 3 players to injury and we've lost Fran back to Chelsea. We've still got a lot of quality back in the squad. Jordan Nobbs coming back in at the start of the week gave the whole squad a massive lift. She will be involved in the game tomorrow. We've got players in really good form for their club sides, and we've picked the players that are in form with the right mentality, with the mentality that we want now going forward. And I hope to see that in the performance tomorrow.
You said at the end of the Norway game that England has to win these 2 games. Do you put any extra pressure on the players?
No, I say that before every game. We're a team that want to win every single game, and but what we do, we focus on the processes of getting us to that level where we can win football games. We've beat Brazil in the last 2 occasions that we've played them, but they've got a new manager who's greatly experienced on the world stage, who has made them defensively more solid, more disciplined. We know it's going to be a tougher game tomorrow. We know that we've suffered a few injuries, but I want us to get back to the way that we played in the World Cup, and in little bits of 10 minutes here and there in the 2 friendlies in the August. So we're looking forward to the game. I think the players have got the bit between their teeth. I said to them when they turned up on the first day that they look brighter. When they turned up in the summer, you could see in people's eyes whether they're fresh or not. And I've got to say, on Monday, they look brighter, they look fresh, they look hungry again. And I think we'll see that in the performances tomorrow.
Steph, Marta is widely regarded as one of, if not the best player the game's seen. What is it that makes her so good and so difficult to play against?
I think them types of players can change games in a second. I think she's definitely one of them types of players. I think she drives her team on, whether that's her dribbling with the ball or some of the tricks that she does. She just loves the big occasions. So I've got huge respect for her, what she's done for the game. And as a defender, it's exciting to play against her. She's one of the best forwards I've ever played against with. And I think not just her, there's a few of their forwards that we have to keep an eye on. We have to make sure that we're compact and we be hard to beat. That's ultimately the aim, is to keep clean sheets and be defensively solid. But yeah, I've got huge respect for Marta, and she's been unbelievable forward for the majority of her career.
The sellout crowd is obviously wonderful news for the game, great for the players to play in front of as well, but as one of the main communicators on the pitch as captain, how difficult is it to play in front of a full stadium and a North East crowd as well? We know they're not quite.
No, they're not quite at all, but yeah, I mean, look, we've experienced that in the World Cup, and there's a few of us that like to communicate and talk and try and help as much as we can, and sometimes you can't hear each other, but I think it's just trying to communicate to the ones closest to you and try and pass messages on when there's potentially a break in play. So for us, that won't be a problem. It's something that we're used to, and hopefully hopefully the crowd's cheering us on, and that means that we're playing well.
Steph, can I just ask, I mean, obviously you're a very inclusive captain, but having sort of, eight of the girls at the World Cup from the North East of Yorkshire, does that sort of give the squad a kind of a real core, as it were? Is it girls who know each other very well?
Yeah, of course. I think, obviously, if you look at the North East players, we've grown up together, we've been in different age groups together, and we've made senior debuts. We play for majority of the same clubs together, which is fantastic. And I think in terms of knowing each other, I think that's what this group is, not just the 8 players, as in terms of an England team. We try and get the best out of each other by knowing each other even better on and off the pitch, and try and drive the team forward. But of course, the North East mentality is just to work as hard as possibly can and want to win football games, and that's what I see in the North East girls in abundance.
Phil's used the phrase hotbed of football here in the North East. It's been traditionally a hotbed of men's football. And do you think the women's game can tap into that, really?
Yeah, you'd like to think so. I think obviously the 8 of us that are involved in the England squad in the World Cup, it just shows how much the likes of Sunderland and other teams have done for the women's game in terms of developing players, and it's important for this region to produce women's players, and hopefully there's a few more come through the ranks. But I think for us, we're proud to be from the North East, and I think obviously, as you said, a hotbed of football. It's hopefully we can continue to do that over the next few years.
Phil's spoken in recent press conferences about your resilience on and off the pitch, but Jordan Nobbs, the resilience she's had to show in that very, very long recovery from injury.
Yeah, of course, always when you're missing football games and you're missing major tournaments, it's tough for any player, and for Jordan and the way that she plays, we've missed her. She's a big personality, she's a big character for us, and her ability second to none. And like Phil said, having her back in the camp, it gives everybody and all the girls a huge lift, and she's a credit to herself, because I know how hard she's worked away from the pitch to get herself back on it. So it's great to have her back, and she may not be back to her best, but she's surely on her way to being an even better player than she was before.
And for your family, just to have you back in the North East, you must be living out of a suitcase most of the time, so it's a bit of a luxury.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to be home. I don't really get a chance to be home that much, but obviously there's a lot of my family always come to every single game, so it's nice to have one closer to home.
Phil, can I just ask you, we've talked about momentum, you mentioned that word several times. We've had a bounce after major championships in recent times, but
Yeah.
do you think there's an unstoppable momentum this time, or is it all down to what you guys do in games like the Brazil game at the Riverside?
Well, I think it's at the moment we've got a momentum that I think is here for a long time, but I still think that the most important thing is what happens off the pitch. On the pitch, in terms of the quality of the football that the people are seeing. I think what they saw in the World Cup in the summer from all 24 teams, they saw some unbelievable football, end-to-end football. I've just been to a FIFA conference and we all spoke, all the coaches, about the end-to-end football, the style of football, the passing sequences, the goals that we scored, the goalkeeping on hand, the defending, the way that there was great individual moments and celebrations. That's what captured the hearts of the whole world, not just us. There are football matches now all over the world in far-out countries where there are 30, 40,000 people watching women's finals, women's league matches. It's not just happening in England. There's a massive movement in the whole world, and that is here to stay. But it's only here to stay if we keep getting the performances on the field right. And I think now what we're seeing is that people are turning up to watch the Lionesses train and the Lionesses play. Is because they like what they see on the pitch. They like the fact that these girls are producing brilliant performances where they say, dear me, they are good. Athleticism, physical, technical, tactical. The style of football in which these girls are playing at is at the top level. And, they are inspiring a lot of people to come and watch women's football. And that's generations from the young all the way through to the old. It's not just we're inspiring the young generation, these girls are inspiring every generation out there, and that makes everyone proud. But I think from a performance point of view, the performance levels need to keep improving, and we need to keep producing great performances, so then when we are selecting stadiums for the next 4 or 5 friendlies, we are looking at Wembley all the time, Old Trafford, Anfield, all the biggest stadiums in the country. And that's the aim that we want to get to. That's the aim that we said 18 months ago, 2 years ago, in terms of the vision that we saw. We wanted to fill Premier League stadiums. We're now close to filling the National Stadium, the biggest stadium in the world. And that gives everybody at the FA, everybody in women's football, every player out there that's playing from grassroots level all the way up to the WSL, massive motivation and confidence in what they're doing is right.
Thank you. And Steph, just last one from me, just about the world of being a professional footballer. We were with Maz Vichorek yesterday, and she obviously played for Cleveland Spartans and then Middlesbrough Ladies and England back in the 70s, and talking about handing kit back, who took it in turns to wash it, and this, that, and the other. And she just talked about it's light years really since her amateur playing days, if you like, and the modern professional player. But presumably it's changed a huge lot, even in your playing career. Yeah,
I mean, obviously when like the likes of me and Jill Scott started at Sunderland, we were 13, 14-year-old, and you're having to pay to play. You're paying £250 worth of subs to go and play for Sunderland. You're having to get hand-me-down kits from the men's side to play in that, which is extra large men's. And look, I've seen every side of the last 10, 15 years, and I wouldn't change it for the world, really. I think it really makes the players that we are today. I think we're in a very privileged position now that I can say I'm a professional footballer. It's my job. I turn up to Manchester City Academy every single day, train, get my breakfast, get my lunch, train on unbelievable facilities, and then come away with England. So we're very lucky, but at the same time, I'll never ever forget what we've been through in terms of how we've got to this position, and the future is really bright for these young girls that are coming through now that are 16, 17, and they've got everything at the feet to be able to be the best that they can be and to have the right attitude to go with it.
Lovely, thank you very much.
Guys.
Right, Scotty.
Yeah. You all right?
Yeah, good, thank you.
Just a one time or so.